Hi everybody, I'm Gary Baker and this is my colleague Alex.
Hello everyone.
Welcome to our presentation. I'm one of a team of mental health first aiders / champions. I work out of the Thames neighbourhood and we form part of the health and wellbeing team within L&Q. We have called our presentation It's Good to Talk. To start off, I would like to tell you a little about why I became a mental health first aider. I had a serious issue, and had it not been for the support and genuine care that I received from my colleagues, both high and low in the trust, I would have fallen. But with love and support and the use of our employee health program, I am here today. This was achieved by ordinary people who took the time to see an issue and were brave enough to ask me if I was okay. So when the opportunity arose for me to become a mental health first aider, I leapt at it to learn how to recognise signs and signpost people to get help, or even just sit and listen for a while. Hence, it's good to talk. But enough from me for now. It's over to Alex, who wants to tell you a story. Alex, all yours.
Hi, I'm Alex Cooper. I have struggled at times with depression, or as they put it in another way, the black dog. And before I joined L&Q, I was looking for a career change, and I'm actually a resident of L&Q, and we've got an employment support officer, which sends me texts telling me about jobs, telling me about various things that are going on within the company, like training, etc. I actually did get a job through L&Q, but it fell through after 2 months of waiting. And my employment support officer actually told me to apply for a caretaker's job, which I thought was ludicrous because I've never done anything like this before. But she said she thought I had the attitude for it. So I did apply, and that's where I first met Gary. Had a bit of banter in the foyer of L&Q and got on quite well. And it was one of the best interviews I've had. And I was told I got the job the next day, which I was really happy about. But because there's loads of form filling, etc. to go on, I had to wait a few months. I came in to fill out a form one day, sat with Gary, and he had a mental health first aid lanyard on, which made me ask him what it was, and he gave me a basic idea of what he does. And I wasn't sure whether I should, but I explained to him that I had literally just been accepted for counselling after a year and a half. And I didn't know how it was going to come across starting a new job and maybe having to go off counselling. And Gary, being who he is, actually just said, listen, we'll deal with it when it comes along. I was given a start date about a month later, and on that start date, my sister went missing, and the very next morning found out that she had passed away, which left me really grief-stricken. And just struggling, but also realising that I was due to start a job in a week. I informed L&Q of this, and they were just like, take an extra week and then come in the following week, which I did. But it was hard learning about a whole new job on a whole new estate, and dealing with grief. And my grief was just on the surface. I cried daily, sometimes actually whilst I was cleaning. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm not really one to hold back, but I did phone Gary and tell him that I was struggling, and he was like, you can talk to me anytime. If you need to take a break, you do. They were quite helpful in regards to letting me go and deal with funeral stuff. But one day it got really bad, and I phoned up Gary, kind of like a little bit in tears, and he was just like, Monday morning, come and see me at the office. And I did. We went in the back room and we had a very private conversation that made me understand that he understood exactly where I was coming from, and that he would be a support for me. And that really did help. Really, really helped, actually. So yeah, just went through the I don't know, just going through life, trying to do the job, dealing with bereavement, And I used exercise to actually get me through that. And then I sprained my ankle. Well, it turns out I didn't just sprain my ankle, I've got osteoarthritis, which means that I am old officially now. Catching up to Gary here. But I'm not allowed to run anymore, which was a heartbreaker for me. One way of me dealing with my mental health, but also dealing with bereavement. And I was struggling again. And I phoned Gary because I was able to, and just told him about this. And he did mention about Health Assured, which is a company that L&Q uses. He said that how they were helpful to him and that maybe I should look into it, and which I did. I'm glad I did. It was very good for me to talk. It wasn't just about bereavement, it was about me and my own mental health in general. I gained quite a lot from it. And it helped lift my spirits. I started training in the gym instead, which is not something I do, but like I say, exercise is very good for my head in general. And I still have the odd dark spot, but they're not as constant and they don't last as long. And I get Gary coming, he phones me up and checks how I'm doing on the estate. But overall, I know that he's checking up on me, which he generally asks, like, so how are you doing? Don't I? And he does, he just checks. And like I say, I'm quite open and honest. And I talk to him about it. I was just saying, maybe we're all low week, I'm not sure why. Sometimes we just talk through about what's going on in my life, or we just have a laugh, actually.
Never.
Actually, most of the time we have a laugh and quite lifts from spirits. But even when it's serious, he'll just ask, he'll give me different angles. And like I say, I'm a lot better, not just for having done the counselling, I'm a lot better because I do have a mental health first aider in my corner who just so happens to be my boss as well. But you'd never guess it by the way we talk and the way we laugh and we carry on. And if I was going to say anything right now, it's good to have someone in your corner, and it's definitely good to talk. So on that note, I'll give it back to Gary.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks for being so open too. So now you can understand a little of what we're trying to achieve. You need to understand that you may think that you're bomb-proof, and it can't or won't happen to you, but you are so wrong. I will not bore you all with my long, sad story, but just tell you a little to try and explain what I mean. Imagine a warm Monday morning. It's time to leave for work. So there I am, suited, booted, ready to go. Keys in hand, front door open. I then turned into a mime artist. I was unable to walk over my threshold. It was impassable. Confused.com, I gave up and had a coffee. Still feeling on top of the world, attempt number 2. No, still could not cross my threshold. So, called in sick, did not know what else to do, but still feel great. Now there was a problem. I ran out of coffee. So I did what any sane man would do. I walked out to my car, drove to the shop, purchased coffee and drove home. Yes, you see the flaw in this story, don't you? Well, I decided to go to work and try again, open the front door, and still could not cross that threshold. Now I have a serious problem. I did not see it coming, but there was help there for little old me. So thank you to my friends and colleagues, and thank you L&Q. But if my fellow mental health first aiders / champions or I can assist, then our numbers are on the intranet. They're easy to find. We're also a very secretive bunch too. We do not ever discuss a named person or even give a clue. The moral of this story is don't sit and suffer. Seek an ear to bend because it's good to talk, or even just to listen. So thanks for your time, and it's bye-bye from me.
It's bye-bye from him.
Thanks very much. We're done.